Hey folks, this is Awayday Guides. I'm Paul, and we've got Leeds coming up with everything you need for a trip to Elland Road and my independent Awayday rating for the day as a whole. It's coming up next. Okay, looking into a bit of the history of the ground, it's been around since 1897, built by a local brewery. It was used by Holbeck Rugby Club at first. It was originally known as the Peacock Ground because of the pub across the road called the Peacock. That still remains there to this day. It's not away fan friendly though. The ground was owned by Yorkshire amateurs but commandeered by the armed forces during the war period. It was actually used as a drill training area and a shooting range during the First World War, right up until the 1919-20 season where the newly formed Leeds United took ownership of the stadium. United developed it extensively and they built one of the earliest examples of a cop known as the Spion Kop, which is named after a hill in South Africa where 322 British soldiers fell in battle during the Boer War, 23rd and 24th of January in 1900. But as an interesting fact, that's where the name Kop comes from. Basically, it's a massive, steep, imposing hill, and a Kop is usually a massive, steep, imposing stand behind one of the goals. It actually means lookout hill. Anyway, I'll stop boring you with that. The record attendance at the ground is 57,892, and that was in the fifth round cup tie against a team from the northeast that play in red and white. Work it out. The record attendance in the modern era of football since the Premier League started is 40,287, and that was against Newcastle United, which was shortly before the Taylor Report brought in all seating stadiums in the Premier League and reduced their overall capacity, which currently sits at 37,792, which means they're not going to beat that until they expand the ground. There are plans in place for a 50,000 seater, but until they find some kind of stability in the top flight, they're probably going to keep putting it off, and that makes sense. The club have been bitten before by the financial irresponsibility of Peter Ridsdale, who left in March 2003, leaving the club in financial disarray. He was actually planning to build a new 50,000 seater stadium away from Elland Road, but had that happened, we might not even have a Leeds United today, so probably a good thing. It's quite a well-respected stadium. Down the years, it's hosted 9 FA Cup semi-finals as a neutral venue. Would have been 10, but one of them was supposed to be between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. Their fans massively opposed this. They said it was because the capacity wasn't enough for them for such a big game. I think it was a lot more to do with the fact it was Leeds just down the road. It's also held many international games, including being one of the Euro 96 tournament venues. It's had rock concerts. For a very brief time, it was home to an American football team, and it's even been home to the Jehovah's Witness annual convention for quite a number of years. That doesn't happen there anymore, though. As far as match days are concerned, the ground itself is located a couple of miles outside the city centre to the south. The nearest train station is actually Cottingley, but most fans will come in through Leeds and get bus, taxi, etc. from there. Cottingley's okay, but it's still quite a walk from there. You used to pass an away-friendly pub called the Dry Salters, but that closed recently, so now there's practically nothing for fans between the train station and the ground, so it makes sense to head to the city centre, especially considering the lack of away-friendly pubs around the stadium itself. If you're driving in, good news is there's plenty of parking around, and it's not too expensive either, usually around £5. There's lots of car parks around the stadium because it's set up as a concert venue, international stadium, this, that and the other. The first one is one of the club car parks, and that's at the postcode of the club, which is Lima Sierra 110 Echo Sierra. What 3 words for where you want to be to get into it is random device gifted. Next one is Fullerton Park, which is actually handier. The postcode is Lima Sierra 118 Tango Zulu. Your what 3 words for the entrance is hired copper spared, and there's quite a lot of parking as well in the pub across the road, the old Peacock. Postcode Lima Sierra 118 Tango Victor. And your what 3 words for the entrance is misty drift spicy. There's some street parking around. I wouldn't recommend it if you've got any markers on your car that suggest you're from anywhere near the visiting fans are based. People obviously think of stickers and stuff like that, but check your number plates. You might have a local phone number or your car dealership or something like that on there. Be careful. It's not Beirut or anything, but there are some Johnny-come-latelys who like to make a name for themselves, and you don't want to give people a reason or an opportunity. That's actually just the other side of the A road. You can walk across a little footbridge and down the main road straight to the stadium, maybe a 10-minute walk, so it is quite handy, but there is quite a bit of street parking around there. Your what 3 word for the approximate area is newest crowd then. As I say, lots of opportunity. Have a drive around and find somewhere decent if you are doing that. If you are using the street parking, you're probably going to find Worm Sketch Ticket handy. That'll take you to the bottom of the pedestrian crossover for the main road. Okay, moving on to pubs. They're not very welcoming around Leeds in terms of drinking for visiting supporters. I think they've tried to show willing by creating this visiting fans pub in the ground area. It's actually just an extension of the stadium bars, so you'll be paying the same as you will in a stadium. It is an only on match days kind of thing. It's not a pub, basically. It opens up for a match day to serve you alcohol and move you into the ground. It's actually within the away fans segregated area. You have to show your ticket to get in there, and the Howard, as it's called, is is on your right, and the turnstiles are just after that. It's not massive by any means. You can get a pint in there if it's empty. If it's not, you're just as well going into the ground and using the bars on the concourse. It makes no difference really. But yeah, anyway, your what 3 words for that is locals party soak. And for anything else, drinking before the game in a proper pub, you're going to be looking to head to the city centre. If you've come in near the ground, you can bus or taxi out there. The number 52 runs right past the stadium actually. That will take you into the city centre. If you have come in by train and you've got off at Leeds Central Station, you've probably done the right thing. There's lots of pubs. You might struggle to get in with football colours. The city centre pubs tend to refuse entry, including home fans on a match day, especially immediately around the station. Further away from the station you get, actually the better it is, but I recommend a couple at the station first, just for convenience. Your first one being the Wetherspoons, which is in the train station itself on the concourse. As you come through the barriers, don't go straight out the doors in front of you, turn left, go past the McDonald's, down a little ramp, and just before you get to the end, there is what looks like a little Wetherspoons from the inside of the concourse, but it actually expands into a much bigger one inside. That's really handy. Buses run from out the front from the other side of that as well. And if you want your what 3 words to guide you there, Lungs Hobby Flags will get you into the venue. If you're driving and parking in the city somewhere, your postcode is Lima Sierra 1 for Delta Yankee. And then as you come out the station, if that's too full, go across the road and bear right, you'll find another Wetherspoons, 5 minutes walk up the hill, called the Beckett's Bank. That's massive. It's over a few floors. And your what 3 words for the front of that is narrow crowned plant. A bit further away from the train station, towards the river, you've got Air Bar, which is an old like mill style building from the front. You go through, it's like archways and stuff, and it's actually got a little strip of river facing beer garden at the other side, which is quite nice if the weather's good. Your postcode for that is Lima Sierra 2 7 Echo Whiskey, and your what 3 words is Take Patrol Jabs. And then a little bit further up the road on the right, you've got the Lamb and Flag, also well spoken about by visiting fans, and you can find that with the what 3 words of Hugs Rods Wiring. If you are drinking in the Air Bar or the Lamb and Flag, your closest bus route is the 52. It's just around the corner. Your what 3 words for the bus stop is Defeat Edits Pure, and that will take you to the ground. Those run every 20 minutes, and it's about a 15-minute journey. Your other best bus route will get you from around the train station area near the Hilton Hotel. Your what 3 words for the stop is Parts Hotel Length, and that's going to drop you a few streets away from the stadium to the southeast, and it's then a 10-minute walk to the ground. You need to cross the road and follow the other football fans. Hotels for Leeds. The Hilton is just south of the station. Postcode Lima Sierra 1 4 Bravo X-ray. What 3 words of Twice Penny Large will get you to one of the corners that it sits on. The best budget one near the station is a Discovery Inn. That's in Bishopsgate Street. Postcode Lima Sierra 1 5 Delta Yankee. And your what 3 words for the front of that is Relay Area Cases. And they do rooms from sort of £45-55 a night depending on the day. It'll probably go up if demand goes up, but that's just how hotels work. And then your nearest one to the ground is a Premier Inn just on the main road junction. Postcode Lima Sierra 12 6 Lima X-ray. Or what 3 words of Expect Held Bill, which sounds good for a hotel. Moving up the ground, if you didn't go there to start with, your turnstiles can be found at Backs Bring Crowd. Get there early, keep your tickets well looked after. We had a nightmare getting in the other season because some of them were damaged. You're in the southwest corner of the ground and the view is okay. As far as Awayday pub recommendations go, for my top one for the day, I don't really have one for Leeds. They're not very welcoming. I would probably recommend stopping on the way and coming in closer to the game, especially if you're in a minibus or you're coming on a train, which is disappointing. It always pains me when clubs don't welcome away fans, especially when your club welcomes their fans. It's really annoying. An away day rating, because of that, they can be an unfriendly bunch at times. Some of them are pretty good, and when you find a good one, they're amazing. But a lot of the Leeds fans let those good ones down, which is a shame, because football's grown past all that nonsense. So for that, for the lack of pubs, for the bang average attempt to accommodate fans at the ground, and for the pretty rubbish view in the stadium as well, I'm going to say a 5. I mean, I could probably give it less, but 5 gives it room to improve, and also gives me room to take it down if I have an even worse experience next time. There's more details about everything in the comments. If you find it useful, please like it. It really helps. And if you're ever thinking of going to an away day again, subscribe to the channel and it'll make it much easier for you to find. You'll get notifications when I update anything. And because I'm only little and I'm not one of the YouTube big boys, I don't get paid for this. So if you want to buy me a beer, there's a link in the comments. That'd be very nice. Cheers.